Welcome. Happy Thursday. It is a great night here. I'm coming to you from New Jersey for all of my new folks that are joining us tonight or watching. I am recording this because I think there was a lot of interest, but a lot of folks had things that were going on tonight. So I'm going to make sure that you get the chance to see the recording. I am Liz Josephsberg, and I'm very excited to be here. For anyone who is watching and does not know about me, I am, let's keep letting folks in here. Um, and I'm very excited for our topic tonight and to kind of share with you just exactly how it is possible to lose weight during menopause. So I am a weight loss expert. For those of you guys who don't know me well, I have been in the weight loss industry for over 20 years. Most importantly, though, is I lost 65 pounds. I've had them off for 15 years, and that includes through perimenopause, menopause, and now postmenopause. So I just kind of want to let you know that my whole life's work is to be a person who can help you actually learn how to lose weight from a perspective of someone who's actually lost weight and gone through what you are going through and really understands the physical, mental, and emotional pieces of weight loss, and hopefully can help you make it make a little bit of sense. So I'd love it if you will join me just in the chat, give me a little hello and what you want to hear tonight. I'm going to share my screen a little bit here and there. But most of all, I think my message for all of you guys tonight is number one, this is interactive. So if you have questions, please do put them in the chat. Please do even unmute yourself and just chime in if you want to. But I just want you to know that this is something where I want you to feel that you can interact. And I think the other message for you all tonight is that sustaining, maintaining, and even losing weight during menopause, perimenopause, it is totally possible. Right? That's the title of it tonight. It is totally possible. I've now helped thousands of women do this. Does the game change? Sure. But what I'm really upset about in the world right now is this sort of message of disempowerment around weight loss. And so I really want to kind of like hit that first. I think there's a lot of chatter out there about how hard it is to lose weight in menopause, how hard it is to lose weight, that we aren't capable of this. And I'm kind of really on a mission right now to say that it is totally possible. It is actually quite simple. It's not easy, it's simple. And we're going to return you to some actual ways of kind of being in your life that actually occurred for you earlier, So when I was writing this curriculum and really thinking about this, in my own journey of kind of hitting perimenopause and having those mood changes and those energy changes and even body changes and sleep changes, it wasn't it the biggest piece of it was that my lifestyle was also shifting at the very same time. So I was going from having children that I had to run around after, dress, make lunches, walk to school, take to baseball, do all these things. As I hit this stage of life, my lifestyle compacted down to not moving as much higher stresses with, I hit it during COVID. So my movement was much less. My stresses were very, very high at that time. And my exercise patterns due to different kinds of stresses really reduced. And so I think it's when I really help women who are in this stage of life to reconstruct and build back the pieces of their life that just the aging lifestyle takes away. A lot of times I see this, right? We come out of work patterns that are really busy into more executive kind of scenarios, or we retire even, or we're, just in a position that doesn't require as much real kind of movement from us. So what I see every single time is that it's this reduction in these lifestyle pieces and the degradation, honestly, sort of the degradation of things like hydration or movement patterns. And then the food piece is a change. So I want to walk you through, the patterns. I have written a book called Target 100. We focus in Target 100 on 6 pillars for weight loss. We don't just focus on one. I really want you to understand that it is imperative if you want to lose weight in menopause that you focus on all 6 of these pillars. Those pillars include, of course, your food, your hydration, your movement patterns, your exercise, your stress, and your sleep. And for each one of those pillars, I want to just talk briefly tonight about a tiny shift that you could make in that pillar that can really bring some really nice elevation to your mood and to your weight loss and all the rest. So be sure, again, because I have people still joining, you can ask questions in the chat. And so I'll share my screen just briefly here, just to kind of set us up to give you an idea around what it is that we're really looking for in these pillars itself, and how we think about Target 100 itself if you haven't been here. So let me share my screen just briefly. So as I said, I'm Liz Josephsberg, been doing this for a really, really long time. Many of you are here because you do know who I am, and you have been following me. I've been doing this 20 years. I worked at Weight Watchers 11 years. I've lost 65 pounds. I lost 50 pounds and 30 pounds and all these other things. I've worked literally around the world in all sorts of different building out of weight loss programs at different companies like Weight Watchers and Lifetime Fitness and Optum and the Vitamin Shop. But I've also worked around the world in weight loss technology. I've helped a bunch of celebrities, and believe it or not, Katie Couric was in menopause when I helped her lose weight and sort of change her life. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And basically now I'm working again still around the world as a board member, and I own Target 100, which is a weight loss company where we talk about these 6 pillars, right? We're talking about nutrition, exercise, sure, right? But that's sort of where these other programs stop, and where for a lot of us who've been dieting a long time in our lives, our kind of knowledge base stops, right? We go, oh, I need to exercise and diet. Menopause isn't that easy, guys. I wish it was. I wish it was just like you could do all the tricks that you used to do. But it is a little bit of a shift, and you have to think of it differently. So we are at Target 100 talking about additionally hydration, movement, stress, and sleep. So this is a really big shift. So we're going to touch on those briefly, because what I've really noticed is that if women in menopause don't think about these other 4, right, not the nutrition and exercise, everything's going to fall apart, guys. One day you're going to not be able to eat right, and you're going to feel guilt and shame, and you're going to miss your exercise. You're going to have all or nothing thinking. You're going to have hormones that are off track when your hormones are already off track. So we want to make sure that we think about, probably even more important to me than food and exercise for a woman in menopause, are the hydration, the movement, the stress, and the sleep pillars. What I see for women is when they begin to actually focus on those as actual pillars, just as they have their entire lives on food and exercise, and how do I improve my food and improve my exercise? Really, how do I improve my stress and my sleep, my hydration, and my movement patterns? Those are the 4 that are magical during menopause. I don't usually meet a woman in menopause who's never done a diet. I've never met a woman in menopause who doesn't know that maybe like they should be eating fresh vegetables and fruits versus candy bars, right? So it's not a lack of knowledge around what a good meal looks like, what a good, healthy, energizing meal looks like, but instead it is around the fact that their stress and their sleep, their hydration, and their movement have suffered so much from the degradation of their lifestyle that they are really suffering. So when we really kind of switch that over, we can really make a big change. So for now, let's just talk for a second. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I want to talk a little bit about the food pillar, and really kind of give you a few ideas about the things that I see working for women in the food pillar, to lose weight in menopause, and things that I do regularly, myself in the food pillar. And I'm just going to throw out some ideas. These are not prescriptive ideas because, again, at Target 100, we don't like to prescribe things. I like to tell you, after working with thousands of people, some of the behavior changes that I see working over and over and over again, and that worked for me. So, a few little top line suggestions for me are, really. Taking a minute and thinking about your meals and how you're eating during the day. I do find that if women can tuck in, I call it tucking in the edges, tuck in the edges on their food consumption, I see them really have more success. Now, everyone wants to say to me, "So, is it intermittent fasting?" And I don't call it that. I have a gentler way of speaking about food and the food pillar. I feel like when we talk intermittent fasting, people get very, very rigid and they start to go, well, I have to do a 6-8. And oh my God, I said I would stop eating at 7 p.m. and it's 7:05 p.m. and I ate something. So therefore I'm a bad person. So therefore I'm off track. I don't really love that. I like, at Target 100, we teach you how to be a little bit more flexible than that. So what I say is like, if you can say, you know what, I'm not going to eat in the morning until I'm actually hungry, right? Because we have so many food patterns in our lives from being just alive for so long at this point, we have a lot of things that we're doing that we just do out of rote patterning and habit and formation and marketing that say like, oh, I need to eat breakfast. I find that a lot of times I interview women at this stage of life and they're eating because they think they should eat. And I coach everyone to really try to work towards eating when you're actually hungry, getting to know what hunger signals are. What I do find for women in this age range also is that their hunger does reduce. Their appetite reduces in when they actually really, really get in touch with their hunger, their appetite has reduced, but their bad habits around food have exponentially grown out of stresses and habitual patterning. Maybe they're eating late at night on the couch after the kids are finally in bed, and they do that when the kids are little, and then they can't break that habit, right? Or they're snacking a lot during the day, which they might, again, that's probably number 2 for me is like tuck in the edges on the food, in the morning, if you can wait until you're actually hungry to eat that first meal. And then at night, if after that dinner, you can really kind of say, I'm done for the night, right? I'm going to really turn this off for now. I see people having a lot of success. It just naturally, because again, like, I'm always trying to teach you ways to lose weight without having to, like, pull out a crazy tracker and, like, do all these crazy things and things that create diet mentality. Whereas when I can say to you, like, "Okay, let's just say a behavior to not eat after dinner is going to reduce your caloric intake
Thank you.
by maybe 500, 600, 700 calories a
Thank
day."
you.
That's going to help. That is going to make a difference. And you don't have to like work at that. You'll be uncomfortable as you change it in the first few days, but then you will be fine and you will really have longer term success with that, eradicating that behavior, as well as tucking in those edges. Really, really assess your snacking, right? Really, really assess your snacking because we have probably in this busier time of life with more stresses. Maybe you're taking care of a parent like me, you have a kid in college like me, I have a kid in high school, you've got, some of you guys I know have grandchildren on top of it all, right? You've got so much going on, so many needs and wants that you're fulfilling. It really has taken what I find for women in this stage of life is they have given so much away that they don't have anything left at the end of the day for themselves. So they're not, maybe they've given up their exercise sessions over time. They look back and they go, oh, I used to exercise 3, 5 days a week, or, back in the day. Now I don't do it at all. It just kind of gets taken away slowly. And what I aim to do at Target 100 is rebuild it in the same way, just rebuild it habit by habit, behavior by behavior, so that you can return to the behaviors that had you at a healthier weight and feeling better. So I would say we're tucking in those edges. We are cutting out snacking. We are really focused on, I would say the one thing I'm going to do a little show and tell here are the things that are funny about once we hit menopause and perimenopause and postmenopause, we are losing estrogen at this point in life, right? We are just steadily losing estrogen. What we now know is that there are foods that we were told to stay away from earlier in life, like soy, tofu, right? Those things are, we were told these are not good for you because they're estrogen promoting foods. We call them phytoestrogen foods. So tofu, guess what, ladies, is awesome for you now. So phytoestrogen foods actually trick your brain into believing that you are still producing estrogen, which makes it super, super happy. It improves your mood, and your body doesn't know the difference between the estrogen production that you're getting from these food intakes or from the actual estrogen itself. So what I'm always trying to encourage you to do is look towards phytoestrogen foods a couple of times during the day. So it could be something simple like I will sometimes just do a stir fry with tofu, and then I'll have it the next day for lunch. Edamame. This is a staple in my house, frozen edamame. This takes about 2 minutes. You know, you boil it really quickly or you put it in the microwave, you put it out on the countertop, sprinkle it with some really good coarse salt, and you snack on it. This is a fabulous snack or an add to any meal. Great phytoestrogen producing food. I've got chickpeas here. Again, chickpeas and hummus, amazing phytoestrogen food. So I buy the mini hummuses that often is my little snack in the afternoon, and it increases my mood. My body feels this tiny bit of phytoestrogen, which it tricks the brain and says, oh, look, estrogen is flowing. So the phytoestrogen is just as good as real estrogen. So you can do this sort of hormone replacement with foods, if you will. Another great one that I live very much on because what you want to be doing to increase your mood and really have this wonderful sort of feeling of estrogen flowing throughout the day is seeing if you can't put a small amount of one of these foods into each meal or snack. So this is called golden ground flaxseed meal. It is outrageously delicious. It's, if you've ever had flax seeds, this is just a ground version of it. It is nutty and delicious. I will sprinkle this right on salads. I'll drop a tablespoon in my soup. I'll put it on chili. I just literally will sprinkle it on anything. And it's outrageously delicious. In my yogurt, it's fabulous. So just a tablespoon like on something at your meal can make a huge difference for you. And then finally, just another one, little other one is walnuts. Shelled walnuts are a great phytoestrogen producing food. And in order to save money, I buy the beautiful diamond baking shelled walnuts. They're much less expensive than buying like the mini packs. I find these to be very delicious and very controllable. I don't feel like I have to go to town and I can't stop eating them like I do with some other nuts like cashews and things like that. So I find that buying the baking ones is so much cheaper and I don't need to portion them personally, right? I'll say personally that I work. So I just think in the food pillar, I hope those are a few things you can take away from this call. Tuck in the edges, watch snacking. If you don't need a snack, don't have a snack because let's get to that let's go to that other piece, right? The exercise piece, right? So food and exercise are the two pillars that people often have focused on in their lives. So we're going to start there because then the last four are the magic that I'm teaching you about. So exercise for people in menopause, I just want you to know for most ladies that I start working with, they have for a long time let it slip. Right. And when they look back in their lives, they go, I used to exercise a lot more than I am. And again, it's because of the familial pressures and the job pressures and the different levels of pressures that occur at this stage of life. And so the exercise piece, when you're building it back in this stage of life, I really push you towards weight training because again, and why am I telling you in the food pillar, I want you to tuck in the edges and I want you to drop snacks unless you really need them because you have lost some lean muscle base during the years, right? You've been sitting in work, you've been sitting in the car driving the kids, you have lost lean muscle and strength, balance, and stability. And so when I'm talking to women about rebuilding exercise in their lives at this stage, I really work on the habit formation around resistance training, something around resistance bands, weight training, getting a personal trainer, really working on something that will stress the musculoskeletal system and rebuild some of the lost muscle tissue that has been atrophying over time, right? And so we can't build that back overnight, but when you're thinking about it, I don't want you to just go back and say, oh, I'm just going to go start running again. What I see to be a magical combination for women at this age is a couple days of cardio for sure, and a couple days of weight training, and then a couple of days of yoga, right? Like, and I'm not saying you have to do 6 days, but I want you, whatever you're doing, I want you to spread it among those three things, right? So a stretching day, a strength day, a cardio day. If you only have 3 days, do those three things and they're magical. If you have more days, try to do more strength training first, then add another cardio, and then add another stretch. So it's a really great combo of a day of stretch, a day of cardio, a day of strength. But you've got to get that strength training going and rebuild that lean muscle. So that's the exercise pillar. I want you to do that because lean muscle at rest burns more calories. So that's why you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm gaining weight overnight, right? It's really not overnight when we look at the data. It's been coming on like, 3 to 5 pounds a year, and it's something that we can turn around. So let's move on to those other magical pillars. For those of you guys who are just joining us, I will share my screen again. We're talking about Target 100 and how we have at Target 100, we have these 6 pillars, right? We've got we're not just focused on food and exercise. And I just gave you some really tactical things to try in the food and exercise pillar. But the magic pillars in menopause are hydration, movement, stress, and sleep. All right. And these are the ones that we're going to focus on, especially at Target 100. We're going to try to help you develop a way in which you really establish these other 4, because what we've learned is that if you don't establish the other 4, the other 2 are not going to sustain you, right? If you don't get a good night's sleep, this is my favorite example. If you don't get a good night's sleep, you are massively hormonally impacted by that, right? You have hormones that start raging that make you hungrier when you don't sleep well. When you don't sleep well, you likely wake up a little late or groggy and you blow off that exercise that you were going to do. Then you get to work, you are late because you woke up late, you're stressed. You said you weren't going to eat the donut, but you eat the donut because you're stressed, you're overtired, and you blew off your exercise, right? So it really comes back down to the night of sleep that was missed. So I think thinking about these other 4 are going to be super, super important, because otherwise, if you're just like food, exercise, everything falls apart. Everything falls apart. And that's what we're always teaching in our courses, right? Is that what we do here at Target 100 is we do courses. So we have a course starting next week where it's 10 weeks live with me, where you will get a box in the mail. You will enroll every week, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. You'll meet with me. We'll have a curriculum like tonight. You'll have homework, worksheets, an app. You will have your 3 devices that work together, your scale, your water bottle, your Fitbit. You will use the app that we've built to understand the data. You'll come to your class each week, and then you will learn how this type of learning where you're actually live and interacting and learning. So I have several people who are here that have taken these courses and know kind of what we do. But it's all about these 6 pillars, right? Because these 6 pillars and how to establish habits within those pillars. So let's just talk for a second about the hydration pillar, which, guys, when we teach this in the class, you can't imagine the power of hydration. But more specifically in menopause, what we know now is that as we age, our bodies are actually less able to retain moisture as well. So in our younger years, we can see that people are 60 or 70% water. Whereas after menopause, we see people really only about 55% water, which is a huge drop, right? That estrogen itself is sort of this great hormone that makes it easier for our tissues to retain water. So as that hormone leaves us, so does our body moisture. And then dehydration, which is a huge, I mean, when I tell you 90% of our country is walking around critically dehydrated, when we started addressing this and we really build up the habit of hydration in your life, women feel incredibly different, like incredibly different from really, really learning how to stay hydrated throughout the day. And by boosting these phytoestrogen foods and boosting your water intake, you can increase your clarity, your mood, you can reduce inflammation. It's really, really, really a very big boost for everyone. So hydration may seem so simple. Again, it's very simple. I'm asking you to aim for 100 ounces of water, but if it was easy, we'd all be doing it, right? So that's really what we're thinking about here at Target 100 is how do we actually take the action, right? The gap between saying, "Oh, I want to drink more water," and waking up the next day and forgetting about it, right? We all do. We're busy and then we another day goes by and we didn't drink our water. We teach you the systems and give you the tools to actually build those habits up. In our courses. So now we've hit it, right? You know what to do about food, a few little tips and tricks. You know what to do about exercise. Hydration is magical. I would also say movement is magical, right? So again, what we see and women that come into my course, we measure all of our data using the devices that we send you, right? So you've got this Fitbit that we put on you now, and all of a sudden we find out that many of the women that come to me, majority are in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. They are moving less than 3,000 steps a day, which again is a mood killer, caloric, complete disaster, right? No oxygen, no blood flow. In fact, we see that the metabolism is stunted by about 30% when people are sitting, right? When there's no blood flow and no oxygen flow, you're further affecting. And what we see is that as people age, as women age, they sit more and more and more and more. It's just a natural progression. Maybe we're a little sore or we're a little inflamed or we're a little more tired. So we start to, I don't know about you. I'm like, hey, Cooper, who's my son. I'm like, can you go upstairs and get me that thing, you know? And I'm like, oh, I used to have to get everything for Cooper. I had to run upstairs 6 times, get different diapers, wash him, put him in the tub, lift him up, clean him, change him. Like I was this crazy active lifting, twisting person all day and all night. Now I'm like clicking on the Netflix with my thumb. That's the only activity that I'm getting, right? Even my job is turned sedentary because I don't have to go anywhere except in this Zoom box, right? So we've lost the movement. When you put it back in, you feel so much better. A couple of the key vitamins that we lose with our aging are vitamin D and vitamin B. And by getting yourself moving usually equals getting outside. So you then are exposing yourself to natural vitamin D, and you are having a much better time at vitamin D is a hormone that, I mean, a vitamin that actually is a weight loss vitamin. It helps your body actually process and use food and metabolize better. So vitamin D is critical. So my little magic secret, and we've done this at Target 100, is this sort of vitamin D challenge. Can you make sure that you get up and get outside? The earlier you can do it in the day, the better, for just 15 or 20 minutes, and get some actual vitamin D on your skin. I know we've all been told like slather up in all of this sunscreen, but it actually is really important that you let a little bit of it come through. your skin. So don't expose yourself for a long time, but make sure that you are getting some, right? So thank you. Oh, Fatima's here. Who Fatima is a major success story at Target 100. I actually have several very big success stories here. Diane and Jana and Tana and Andrea, Adrian, sorry. Awesome to see you here tonight. I put the link, actually, Fatima put the link in the chat. If you want to join our course, it starts next Wednesday. If you are here tonight, you're going to get a discount and a extra coaching call with me if you book into the class in the next 24 hours. So I will share my screen again, and then we will continue on this journey of these amazing pillars that we are working on, because it's so fun to be able to give you some really tangible takeaways. This is what we see at Target 100, and this is what we do. We have a curriculum each week. We try to really encourage you, and then we use community, right? So every week you're going to meet with me live. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to be here for you. Then you're going to have a class of people that are going through this with you all at one time, so that you can really get the sense of community. What we know, especially at this age and menopause life, women are getting isolated. They're getting isolated because they are so overwrought, right? They're taking care of a parent, they're taking care of a grandchild, they're taking care of all of their home and other things. And so having community support when you're going through these changes and trying to understand what's happening to my body, what's happening to my mood, why do I feel like I cannot make a change? But I'm telling you, we're helping so many people lose so much weight in this stage of life. So it is totally, totally possible. So again, you're going to join our class. It's 10 weeks live with me. It starts Wednesday, 8 p.m. You're going to get a beautiful box in the mail. You're going to get devices that all work on our app. You're going to come to a class every week. Then if you love us, you can join our subscription. And we do that very specifically in that we want you to take a course first, so that you really understand the program and how to make these changes. And then you can roll into subscription where everybody is sort of speaking the same language, having gone through this very deep course. Now, this is why I'm so passionate about what we do and how we do it, is because every single one of us is different, right? Every single one of us I have two sons, right? One's in college. And one's in high school. But I'm looking at Jana, right? And she's dealing in a whole different way. Fatima has children younger than mine at home still. We're all having a very different life. So when we look at ourselves as the same, it's impossible. If I was going to say one size fits all for you guys, it wouldn't work, right? Which is what all of the diets out there are doing. They're saying, oh, you know what? You're like Jenna, you're like 48, you're a perimenopausal athlete, but you and Sarah are both 5'8" and you weigh 180 pounds. We'll just give you all, 35 points. But look, these two people have totally different lives, right? So addressing them as the same, the data then helps us to understand what Sarah needs versus what Jenna needs to lose the same amount of weight. Very, very different. So our data really is going to help us do this. So if you do join us, you're going to get the box and a platform. You're going to get a one-on-one call with me, a community, your box, recipes, all the things, worksheets, guides, your devices, and it starts on Wednesday. If you are here tonight and you want to join, you can go in the link that Fatima shared in the chat. For the next 24 hours, you get 20% off using the code family20. And you will also get an extra coaching call with me if you join in the next 24 hours. These seats do go very quickly, so I'm going to encourage you to get on it if you want them as we get going, and we want to send your box out as soon as possible so you have it in time for this to begin. So I'll remind you about this, but let's go back and make sure we hit our other couple of pillars, right? So now I've given you tips for exercise, for food, for movement, for hydration. Now we've got stress and sleep. What I see for women in this age range, stress is almost like almost like an assumed way of living. right? And a lot of ladies don't even realize how stressed they actually are because it's become a norm. Their lives have become so overrun with busyness and stressful situations and changes and taking care of everyone else that their stress levels are so high that they don't even recognize stress anymore. It just seems like this is how I'm supposed to live. So we teach, and I'm going to really encourage. Again, you heard me encouraging a sort of a yoga in the exercise. At Target 100, we teach you to try to come into your day one, maybe two times, if possible, to turn off what I call the stress radio. It's like if someone had the radio on in the background and you stopped hearing it, right? Because it's just on all day and you just forget. That's what stress is. So in menopause, I'm always trying to get women to know that tiny little things really, really can make a difference in stress relief. And so getting 1 to 2, 2 is my preferred times per day, where you take a break and you do something as short as 2 to 5 minutes to actually reduce your stress. So that could be a breathing exercise. That could be, what I do up in my office. I tell everyone this is like, I do something called grounding. I literally lay on the floor and I put my little headphones in and I ground myself and I listen to some calm music and I let myself just settle. Right. And that 3, maybe 5 minutes turns off the stress response, and that stays off for a good couple, 3, 4, maybe even 5 hours. That's why I'm asking you to try to do it twice a day, and learn to incorporate reducing exercise, right? Like yoga, which is going to have a grounding effect, a stretching effect, a balancing effect on your mood. Bring that into your regimen if you can. And then sleep. Right? So you guys now know pretty much everything I just talked about, they're all connected, right? If your stress levels are super high, you sort of know what that's going to do to your sleep. I do believe that women have trouble sleeping in menopause. I know it to be true because I have it. But what I
Okay.
find to be true is that actually, when I reduce my stress to levels that are manageable, my sleep increases exponentially. So they're so tied, stress and sleep. The thing about sleep and in menopause is you almost have to think of it. That's why I love that it's a pillar, right? I love that it's something that you want to think of just as equally as your food or your water or your exercise. Your stress and your sleep are pillars. Sleep is a pillar that needs to be attended. Everyone sort of goes like, "Ah, I used to just fall asleep," and be so mad about it and not not really just go like, "But that's not happening anymore. How do I assess what's happening versus what used to be?" This is something I hear across the board from women in menopause. It's like, "I didn't used to have to do it like this." Like, and I hold this up, you guys, every day. Guess what? Your life is a Rubik's Cube and it's constantly changing. And as we age, we have to reassess, right? That's why you can't go back and do the same things that worked for you. You are a different person at this age. So please stop comparing yourself. Please stop saying, but in my 30s, I could do this or I could do that. That's great, but it's no longer occurring. So I want you to go back in and say, "I'm a brand new human. What does it take now?" And I want you to think 6 pillars, not just food and exercise. So the sleep pillar is so affected by the others. So as I said to you about food, tuck in the edges. There's so much science and research around you. If you do not eat for about 3 hours before going to bed, how much better you will sleep, right? So what I'm saying to you is you may have developed some really bad habits over the years being stressed. And what I find for a lot of women is it's a glass of wine. And I fell victim to that myself of like, God, I'm so tired. I need something. I deserve something. And we deserve something. But what is that wine and the sugar in that wine doing to us? It is disrupting our sleep at night. So I think like the food pillar, if you it's going to affect the sleep pillar. So I want you to think about the tucking in of the edges is actually not just for weight loss, it's for my sleep. And guys, we detox during our sleep. So when we're sleeping is when we're really magically cleaning all the stuff out. So we want to think about, what can I do? I want you to really think about that reduction of food, using gentle, natural sleep aids. Like I take magnesium, which is another supplement that women in menopause really do need. Magnesium at night. I take a couple of capsules at night right before I go to bed, because magnesium is a sleep aid. Or taking sort of a Epsom salt bath is another way to kind of get this kind of calm, relaxing, doing that stress relief that I was talking about before bed, so that you are reducing that stress, centering yourself, really examining those nighttime routines. That's where I see we've all got a lot of bad nighttime routines, because it was our time to ourselves, and it was where we could kind of like connect with our spouse, or finally watch that Netflix thing, or have a glass of wine, and we have a lot of bad habits about getting on our phones and trying to do work after people go to bed, right? Like so many women that I work with now, I have to say, really, ladies, you can't, like, figuring out a way to not put, that work, an extra set of a couple hours of work after dinner. It's so stressful. And I know it feels like it's the right thing to do. But I think by managing our time, managing our sleep better, we're going to sleep better. We're going to be more effective the next day. So just really thinking about how all of these things are very, very they're intertwined. So I'm just going to share my screen and like remind you the 6 pillars that we're thinking about. I want you to just put it in the chat which one is the one that's really sticking out for you tonight, and that you are kind of thinking to yourself, like, that's the one I need to put a little focus on. Because guys, we can't do it all at once. That's really what we teach you in these courses. And Fatima put up the link. We'd love to see you there. I'm going to answer any questions that you have now. Please, like, unmute, type them in the chat. I am looking there. But we are, as I say, kicking off our last set of courses until the fall. So this is, and honestly, this is the first time we've ever done a course that started in May, that will take you basically all the way into the deep summer. So I want you to kind of really think about, sorry, let me get back here. Think about, the fact that this course, you could be really losing weight, getting on top of it, and having a really great outcome throughout the summer, and not the opposite, which is what I see for most people, is that the summer becomes a weight gaining time because there's so much socialization and things like that. So I want you to kind of think about, of these 6 pillars, which is the one that you're going to really be kind of taking away from this call. And then I hope you will come join us at our course that starts next Wednesday. Again, use the code family20. If you join from this link, you're going to get the 20% off, and you will get an extra coaching call with me. So you're going to get live with me for a personal one-on-one coaching call. So I hope to see you there. Let me just stop sharing and check the chat and make sure that that we are answering any questions that you might have, because we do have a couple new people here. I know people will be watching this recording. So I see Jana, yes, you say, I'm struggling with the sleep pillar right now. I saw you nodding your head about a few things that you're like, yes, yes, I can tuck in the edges, right? We can tuck in the edges on any one of these pillars, and it's natural that they do expand back out on us. That's why we come here and we go, okay, let's talk about this. Let's remind ourselves about the things that work, because this one has gotten away from me a little bit. Yeah. Hi, Tana. I love seeing you out on your walk.
Hello. I did not sleep well. I got a 90 on my sleep score last night, and because I took Unisom. So, but today has not been a good day. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I've had like a headache, probably because I took Unisom, but
Could be.
probably dehydrated me. But I thought
Absolutely.
I was laying on the couch and I was like, I better get up and get my steps in. So I'm trying to get up
Look
and
at you. I am giving you
I,
a clapping hands
it's
right
gonna
here.
be it's gonna be an ish day, but we'll see
Great.
how that goes.
Great.
Not gonna be 10,000, but I'm gonna get
Oh my
ish.
gosh. Getting up off that
Ish.
couch and doing this though is going to change your mood, right? I see a beautiful sunset behind you
Yes.
and you're
It is
this,
gorgeous. Yes, it's
yeah.
pretty here.
That's kind of really what we teach you, right? Is the skill of how to say, I know that I don't maybe want to get off this couch right now, if, but I know what that positive outcome is if I do get off the couch right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, proud of
Yes.
you.
I'm doing a 30-day, thank you. I'm
Yay.
doing a 30-day challenge, burpee challenge too with another friend. So that's my that's my thing.
I
So it's
love
fun.
it.
Thank you for all the info today. And
Yes, I hope it was helpful.
I'll take lots of it at this time of my life. So fun.
I know, right? It is. And I hope I never minimize. I try to really make things simple for you guys. I don't want to minimize how difficult this time of life is and how it can feel. I mean, I remember in perimenopause having, my anxiety rise to a level that I had never felt before. And that's just the reduction of estrogen. That's just as our bodies are losing estrogen. And I didn't really know what was going on. And so I love that we're able to have these conversations now. And I don't want to minimize, but what I want to do so badly is help you develop the habits that will minimize some of these side effects of what's occurring for us. So remember your phytoestrogen foods, right? I'll hold them up one more time. I'm watching for questions. Please feel free to unmute. Ground flaxseed, right? Some delicious edamame, some tofu, right? Have a little chickpeas or hummus. These are great. And don't forget your walnuts. All of these things will help you feel better. And just you want to sprinkle those throughout your day so you have a nice flow of phytoestrogen hitting your system and your body feels like it's still got that hormone. Oh, I feel better.
Liz,
That
what do you do with the edamame, the pods? You don't eat the pods. You take just the seeds
the
out.
beans
That's
out. Yeah.
something I'm not used to. So, do you roast it?
No, so you'll just like, and you'll see these in your grocery store. This is, I'm sorry, I don't have like the bag. This was in a larger bag. I get this at Costco and these are mini bags.
Okay.
I buy a lot of times at the regular grocery store, like Green Giant frozen edamame. They'll tell you how to make it on the bag. It'll say like microwave it for 3 to 5 minutes or whatever. Then you take it out. You'd sprinkle a little bit of like, I use kosher salt because it's a little heftier.
Coarser.
And then you just snack on them by like kind of, if you've never done it before, you kind of bite them gently and the seeds pop into your mouth, or the beans really pop into your mouth. And it's really delicious and enjoyable. So that's how I use it. You can also buy edamame that's shelled. And you could just sprinkle that on salads, or you could eat
Right.
that, like a few little bit of that, right? You don't have to do it this way.
Yeah, that's
This
what I
would
was
be
gonna
great. It would
say.
be just like my artichoke.
It's just like an artichoke. It feels
Awesome.
very similar to that
Okay.
biting and pulling, and then out pop these delicious little beans. Your grandchildren will love this. My kids, the first time we did this, they were like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. And now I just leave them on my countertop and everyone throughout the day, because they don't need to be warm. Like I left them overnight the other night and everybody just sort of started picking at them the next day, so they're
And they're high
delicious.
in protein as well, just
Yeah.
like the tofu.
Yeah. Jana, sorry.
I was just gonna say that I pick them up that are already shelled, and
Yeah.
then I have them always that I can grab some, and they thaw really pretty quickly, and you can throw them in salads and things like that, just so that you can have those that way.
See, I thought they roasted them. I didn't know what you did with them. I thought they were roasted with seasonings. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe you could. I don't
you
know
can.
why you
A little brags
couldn't.
on anything is good for me.
Oh, I was gonna say, I bet you could Google search like roasting
I
edamame or
will. Yeah, I
frying
will.
edamame.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you can do so many things. I'm pretty simple about it, but I love it that way. this way of taking it out because it's very slow for me. It's sort of one
And
of
it's
those
tactile. Yeah, that hand.
tactile, it's
Yeah.
salty, especially in the summer, as I say, I let them cool and it's just like a wonderful little afternoon snack. It keeps me really energized. And then the phytoestrogen raises my mood. And I can actually feel it now. I'm like that in touch with it, is that like this, I had this afternoon, just I was feeling a little hungry and I knew I had 2 courses tonight and I was like, really want to feel energized and I can really feel the effects of that.
And you know walnuts, because they look like their brain if you pull them out. That's why they're good for your brain.
They're so good for your
I'm
brain.
going to send some recipes. I was like the tofu queen with the WW. So
Oh,
I've
I
got
love
some
that.
dips, peanut butter dips, and all kinds of things. So I'll post them.
Please
Oh,
do.
that would be great because
I love it.
Great.
I have learned to like tofu, but I need to expand how I use it. So
I
that
have a
would be
great hot
great.
and sour soup with a whole thing of tofu in as well. So it's good.
Oh,
I love it. Well, I see a couple new folks, Emily Simmons and Sherry. I'm not sure if you have any questions for us. I mean, this is, what Target 100 is, right? It's a course.
mm,
You're going to see me. You're going to have members that talk to one another. We are an interactive place to be. Is there anything that we can, I'll just let you kind of unmute and ask any questions before I let you all go tonight in case I can. Emily or Sherry, anything? Nope. All right. Well,
I think those new people need just to understand that one of the gifts that we get here is the ability to put that critical thinking into your own life. As you
yes,
said, it's not a one pot. And just this is an additional class for us. I mean, Jenna and I are in the subscription, but when we see these, we
right.
pop in because the information is just invaluable. And we could just keep adding it to our repertoire to learn and grow and be healthier every day.
I love it.
Yep. Just
Well,
brings back those, oh yeah, aha, like, yeah, that sleep, and that used to be one of my better pillars.
yeah,
And
yeah,
lately it's not. And I need to really step back and figure out what has changed. Not that it's good or bad or whatever, but that something has changed and it's affecting my sleep pattern. And so what kinds of tweaks can I do,
yeah.
tuck in the edges to bring back, I mean, I was always 90 scores. Now I'm not.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I love it
something's
now, right? See, like the Rubik's Cube, we don't sometimes even know what came along. I find this time of year that I struggle because the light is longer, so I'm staying up later. I'm like, how did it get to be 10:30? Like, oh, okay. It feels like, 6:30 used to feel. So I am finding that this time of year for me in the cycle of all the things I know about myself now is that I do have to like put myself to bed, like even sometimes when it's still light out. And that's hard to do.
it's hard.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I
So,
did start the magnesium. I got
good.
the one that Meredith recommended,
Yep.
Meredith Leafman,
Right.
and I did start that like 2 weeks ago. But I've only been taking one tablet, and it
Okay.
says you could take two.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, should I take one in the morning and one at night, or should I just really go
No.
for it to it at night?
Go for 2 at night. The only way that you'll know that you may be a little bit overdoing it is it can give you a little diarrhea because it is
Okay.
sort of a stool
Well,
softener.
I did get the one that with the glycinate. Is that the
Yep.
one?
Yeah.
The which is, well, not that it won't make you a little loose, but it's not as
Yeah. It's not
digestive tract irritating, I
exactly.
guess. So, yeah.
Good.
So that was, I was gonna connect with Meredith and say, okay, I've kind of done the 2 weeks or so with one. Maybe I need to jump to two. But
Give it a
you
shot.
suggest both
Yeah.
of them at night.
I
That
do.
might
And the
help.
only thing it really does is that magnesium pulls the fluid out of your bowels. That's why you go. It's not a
Yeah.
bad
Okay.
thing. It's just pulling all that liquid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Well,
Thank
I
you,
think I'm
Liz.
gonna try two tonight.
Yeah.
let us know how it goes, Jana. Have a wonderful night. I'm going to jump over
Thank you,
to
Liz.
my
Thank you.
foundation course.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
Thank you, Liz. Bye bye.